We'll kind of go into the chat or the comment stuff over here.
Yes. Hello, hello. Yes. Okay. This is Mark, and we're teaching StreamYard now. Over on the right where it says chat, not private chat, but chat, that's where they can talk to us and you can talk to them. And it posts both in
Kind of go into this.
hang on. It posts in Facebook, my Facebook page, and my YouTube channel, I believe.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really it's so freaking high tech. I sit here with two phones. One has Facebook, one has YouTube. I'm not fancy enough to have a big screen over here like everybody else that has everything on there. I go for the phones. So, good afternoon. We are both sitting in the lake. It's our background. We are bringing the sacred water with us this afternoon. And welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Today's Super Bowl day, isn't it?
It is.
Is it started already?
I have no idea.
One of you are going, and who's playing? I actually do know who's playing.
I don't even know that. I mean, I think.
Bengals and Rams.
Oh, hey. Oh, wow. The Chiefs didn't make it in.
Animals I like. That's how I remember. If I like the animals, we're good. If they're not animals, I'm in trouble. I don't even know if the weird TVs I have here will get the game because I don't have any local TV stations. So we're going to do this instead.
This is much more to my preference.
Yeah, me too. I don't do sports that often anymore. I just don't. I don't do TV that often anymore. I'll cast the YouTube stuff on TV. So, okay, is that whose art is that behind you? Is that yours or Alexa?
That's one Alexis did about maybe in 2014 or something like that. So it's on an antique window, and
Ooh,
so it's acrylic and not really any mosaic on that one.
yeah. Is she there? Is she at home with you?
She's here. She's inside. She's working on some classwork.
Ah, so we can't drag her out here. Hey,
We
Debbie.
could.
I was going to have both of you on. So this is my really good friend Mark. Ah, it's good to see you. God, we go back. We go way back. We go way back. Way back into a different marriage for you, and I go way back.
Different states of being.
I know it's really utterly amazing, actually. And if we can get Alexis outside. Mark is one of the, and I put this in something I wrote, just one of the coolest artists that I know, as far as everything you do is a perspective on the world that's creative and artistic. And you do things like your old typewriter perspectives last night on Facebook. It's like, that's the kind of weird stuff I do. Like, how can you tilt the camera and take a picture and see it from a different angle?
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you're so creative. And, besides being a photographer for a living, you are creative in every way I know you, in all the arts. And you are married to somebody who is just as creative in a totally different way. So, welcome. We can talk about creativity today. Yay!
It keeps us alive.
Well, we were talking about the depression that empaths like all of us feel out there, because there's a lot of it, and I feel it even up here trying to hide out in the woods. I still feel it, and I'm just grateful for creativity. Really grateful. Okay, hi guys. You're not white. Okay, somebody out there, do you know when the football game is on? Because Mark and I are clueless. Hey, Sharon and Virginia and Debbie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. And nobody's on there. So, I asked you to bring a poem.
I did. Well, I
I
brought a
didn't,
couple, but
I didn't know that you wrote poetry until I started seeing this on Facebook. Is this new?
no. I mean, the way that Marlo and I had met was we were both in school at Wichita State, and I was studying English then, and I did an English degree there, and went on and did a Master of Fine Arts in creative writing at Old Dominion.
Oh my God. How come
Yeah,
I never knew that? The game starts at 5. Okay, so what you're telling me is we have to be exactly on time.
otherwise we'll lose our audience.
I don't know. Okay, who's watching the football game? I like Tigers, so I'll probably root for the Tiger team. No idea who plays football. Oh my goodness. I was married to somebody a gazillion years ago who could have gone semi-pro. So he was a little bit of a football addict. And he basically had it on every time it was on TV and would force me to sit next to him. So for me, it was like, ooh, nap time. This is great. I never watched it. Just went to sleep. It was great. We were in type A workaholic behavior back in that time. Oh, swing that camera. Swing that camera. Hi, sweetheart. Oh, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I get too. This is Alexis. Oh my God, you look so pretty.
Oh, thank you. I actually, put makeup on today. We had in-person church. We're doing it once a month. Right? Celebration circle.
Celebration, yeah.
So I put lipstick on. Yeah, I haven't done that in like a month since last week. So yeah.
That's great. Oh, it's so good to see you. So this is Mark and his beloved wife and the artist of that beautiful picture behind them. It's so good to see you. So we were talking about poetry and how in my complete ignorance, I had no idea Mark was a poet.
His first art form, or I don't know. What do you know? What do you consider your first art form?
Yeah, what do you consider?
Mowing lawns.
I'm thinking mohawks and wheels and decorations and
it was a blast as a kid. I got to play with the riding mowers, and the only thing that was bad was when I ran into the one bush at my grandparents and ended up with thorns stuck in my knee.
Oh, that's funny. I had no idea. That is funny. I can honestly say that in my 66 years on this planet, I have never once had to mow a lawn. But I never had the choice of a riding mower either. Now that would be fun.
Yeah, it was very fortunate. It was cool.
That is cool. So your first art form was making decorations in lawns. And then where did you go from there? Did you start writing the poetry?
Yeah, photography was probably the thing that came along next. And then, after that, probably music, and then the poetry, and now it's a pretty fair balance between the poetry and the music and the photography and some painting.
Is that your beautiful wind chime going off that she's taking down?
No, she was going in to get a coat.
Okay, it's cold out there. Yeah.
Alexis has a sweatshirt that says, "Yes, I'm freaking cold." So occasionally she'll wear that when it's kind of warm, but it's.
Do you remember my housemate Kim in Austin?
A little bit.
She was like that too. Always cold. You got a puppy.
That would be Dorothy. Let's see if I can get Dorothy. Come here.
We've got a family affair today. This is fun.
Come on, Dorothy. Come on. Dorothy's thinking about coming up.
Okay. Now I'm a little bit.
Now you're ready. That's funny.
You would never believe I grew up in Iowa.
No, I do not believe you.
No. With negative, and the ice on your eyelashes from the Yeah.
Yep.
No. Lost all cold tolerance.
So these two are actually broadcasting from their backyard in San Antonio, Texas,
Yes.
which a gazillion years ago, the first time I moved to Texas with my now ex-husband, that's where we lived. We were in
Oh.
some place called Brook Hollow. It's one of the
Oh, yeah.
neighborhoods. We were in that neighborhood, and I never. I attempted to go back to San Antonio to live because I love this city. It's just so eclectic, different,
Yeah.
artistic, and never made it. I never made it. Oh, you've got two puppies.
We have the puppies, yeah.
This is Ananda. This is Dorothy.
Whoa.
They're the Mayhem twins.
Look at these babies. Oh, I love this. We get to have the doggies on the show too.
Ananda's name means the joy without which life would cease to exist, which came from a book, the Wrinkle in Time series.
Ooh.
But,
Ooh. And Dorothy, is that as in the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy?
That was
probably
the name. That was the name she had. Dorothy's a rescue. Ananda came from our neighbors across the street, Nancy and Adam. She was gifted to us.
Aw, look at the tail go! Oh my God. Okay, everybody's hearts are melting with the puppies. We usually get kitties in many of these live streams that our group does, so it's different to see puppies.
Yeah.
That's great.
There is a cat floating around, but I think Tommy's actually inside the house.
Yeah.
Tommy's the smart one. It's cold out there. I'm staying in.
Although he'll go out about 9 o'clock and he'll stay out and kind of make sure the feral cats know that he's the
boss. Mm-hmm. He's the boss. Exactly. That's so cool. I love it.
But if you ever try to pick up Thomas and interact with him like he lives in the house around the feral cats, he will deny that he is your cat. But then he'll come inside and be a nice cat. It's quite fun.
So he's posturing on the outside.
It's a thing. He's a poser.
I think he's fronting.
He has this mask he puts on when he goes outside. I love the way animals do that. It's so cool. So I asked Mark if he would bring a poem or two. I get to enjoy them on Facebook. If you're willing to read something, and then I'll probably play music to dial us all in, and then we'll chit chat some more.
Cool. Let's see. How about two shorter ones? Is that good?
That's perfect. Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna wait for the jet to finally clear out of airspace.
Come on, the airplane is the perfect.
All right. This first one's called "Wake Up." Wash off the pain collected this night. Set aside losses now grown old, too rotten to be of use, or of angled modes leading only down graveyard pathways. May not feel good when you get feet feeling to the floor. Awkward steps go ways you'd think not quite right, left anyway but falling. Soon enough, you're up with the clock's companion spiders. You have an idea now, don't you? Go on, say it, to yourself at least. Write down one word to remember what you will change. There's no time left to sleep. Just dream, act.
That reminds me of Rumi and Hafiz.
Thank you.
That's a nice compliment.
That's high praise.
It does. It's that kind of take a hard look at what you're doing and pay attention.
And then this is a little bit of maybe a similar sort of feeling, but this is called Ledger. Write your own words. Tell a story you have hidden so far inside, blood barely moves there. Be honest enough to see paths you cut through this life, line out a chart of miracles. each place you dreamed a manifest for home, no matter where wheels and paper take you. Keep going. Entries remain yet open, available now with no real need to balance anything, also with no end determined, though certain to foreclose when the time goes. Daylight doesn't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have you published a book yet with poetry?
Haven't published a book yet. I would like to. It just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's one of maybe one day in the future.
It's kind of, the process of submitting stuff out and reading fees and whatnot.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you're doing it that way, it's such a crapshoot. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I debate about the notion of just self-publishing something.
Yeah, or doing it online. Yeah, exactly. God, the technology these days is so different to get things out in the world.
That's true.
I mean, it's back. Okay, it was probably 12 years ago when my Hathors said that I was to be recording and broadcasting the music, and I was on the ranch at Bernie. I know you remember that. And I'm sitting there like, say what? I don't even know how to do it. I had no idea where to start. And all this fancy technology that we can afford that records and broadcasts for us, I didn't have. It wasn't here yet.
I mean, there wasn't, and out there at the ranch, there wasn't even the data connection.
What? I had Wi-Fi ish. I had gong Wi-Fi and deer and goat Wi-Fi. That place was a trip.
I'm really curious as to what it's like these days. I wonder what's going on out on that land.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, I know he was trying to sell it. The ranch that I was on, Guadalupe River Ranch, used to be a thriving retreat center. Like back in the 60s, I think, 70s. And it was right on the river, and it was 400 acres of just pure hill country, gorgeous. And by the time I moved to a cabin out there, it was in a state of falling apart. I mean, it was too expensive to maintain all these huge buildings with rooms, and it was really sad. And of course it was haunted, like you can it was really haunted. Even I could see the ghosts out there. So, and it was the main house was the most haunted place, and the ghost that would be upstairs, the woman, was actually, we did research, it was actually the wife of the original banker that built that house. And he was some banker from San Antonio back in the old days. So yeah, I have no idea what it's like. I have not been back since I left. I haven't seen it. I have not seen it. All these weird places that you guys have followed where I've gone to come hang out, as I do the butterfly thing around Texas before I moved up here. I'll be doing the butterfly thing around Arkansas now. That's next. So I'm going to play a little bit of music just to dial us in. And that would mean, okay, yes, my mouse is going to talk to everything. Thank you. I am going to change audio so I don't cancel out my own echo.
I'll go ahead.
Okay. And the first thing I'm going to start with is the European version of a chakra opening on the bar chimes that you can't see. Okay, I think we got the echo off. Huh, you all sound very good out there in electronic audience land. I'm always reading the sounds. You sounded great. All the heart chakras are getting ready for Valentine's Day with the self-love department and the loving other people department. So happy Super Bowl, happy Valentine's Day, happy almost full moon, and whatever else is going on astrologically. I hear it's intense. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Sharon, for sending the prayers and the big hugs. Okay, who's on here? Everett. Hi, my friend. So, how did you get into photography in the realm that you do it as a profession?
My dad and my mom were both kind of shutterbugs, not professional photographers, but they both, there was always a camera around.
Uh-huh.
And kind of same with my granddad and my Uncle Ken and my Uncle Kelly. So there was always a snapshots and making some sort of documentation of whatever the memory might be was always part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's where it started. When I went off to college, I thought I was going to do photojournalism initially, and got seduced by the English department, so I didn't do that.
Okay, how did the English department seduce you? I got to hear this story. Alexis is like, say what?
that and the women's studies minor here. This all.
Yeah, exactly.
Where I went to undergraduate, the communication school was very focused on broadcast stuff.
Uh-huh.
Less so on print media, and so there wasn't a whole lot of room for things focused on print media where the photojournalism would apply.
Right.
And the people that were in the English department, the ideas that were being talked about and worked through there were just so much more interesting to me. So that was sort of the mode of seduction.
Okay. Yeah, the curiosity.
Yeah.
Curiosity seduction. That's cool. And the I can't talk. I'm just supposed to be asking you questions. Blah, blah, blah. Oh well, we're so professional here. I like chatting with my friends. The kind of photography that you do is commercial.
Yeah. So that kind of
different.
Yeah, that kind of. When I moved to Texas, I got a job with a trade association and working in their publications department. And the photography was a significant part of that job.
Okay.
Through that, I ended up making connections with folks and that wanted me to do work for them outside of what I was doing for HAA. And, that was it. At some level, it's kind of mercenary work because you're making this art for money in a pretty it's just a pretty straightforward transactional way, but
yeah,
it's at the same time as doing those things that are pictures of apartment buildings or whatever, or portraits of business people. Finding ways to do work that also is more creatively fulfilling and more soul enriching.
Okay.
That's part of how you keep going.
Yeah. So you would I know you take pictures in Houston. You work in Houston a lot because that's where you used to live. And is that pictures of like if an apartment building wants to market an apartment, are you the one that goes in and makes it look good? Or are you doing something different from that?
A lot of the photography is that kind of thing, or like I've got a couple of clients that they buy stuff that's in rough shape. So I go in and I document it when it's before they've gotten to do anything to it, when it's nasty, messy,
okay.
disgusting. And then I go back and create match shots after the fact that show, the transition that they help make happen.
Okay, so this like the fixer upper stuff you get to document by still photos. I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah. So that's been the bill paying stuff for many years.
For many years. Well, and I have a photo on the front page of my actual website, Sacred Inspiration, that you took a gazillion years ago, and it was not a posed photo. We had a whole group of people sitting in a living room just having a good time, and I moved it over when I put a banner up, but I still have it there because it's one of my favorite pictures of me just being. I hate cameras. I'm one of these people that does not like a camera pointing at me. And it was like, ooh, I was actually having a good time and he had a camera in the room. So that was neat, to be comfortable enough with, because you always would just pick up the camera and start taking pictures.
And that the thing that I love about photography is when you can find those moments. Wait for an airplane because I think it's probably loud.
Isn't there a play that they have somewhere under an airport where everybody just freezes?
That I don't know, but that would be. I need to go find that.
I don't remember what state that's in, but it's like it's outdoor theater with an airport, and every time that happens, the whole cast just stops wherever they are, and then starts again when the plane goes by.
That might be the botanical garden here.
It could be. Saying the botanical garden might have something of that sort.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Texas or New York. I don't remember. I just remember it was a really cool idea. Oh, that's cool.
But when you find those moments when somebody's at ease, or when you're able to show something that's truly authentic about a person.
Yeah.
That's what's magical about photography in my mind.
Yeah.
And it's so often that's not what the very programmed, commercialized market wants. They want something that's
posed.
It's in its box, and
yeah.
I mean, they may say they say they want the thing that's authentic, but if what's authentic isn't exactly what they want, then
that airbrush it out. Yeah. I get that. And I've taken pictures for decades and tend not to take pictures of people. I will once in a while, but out of the thousands of pictures I take every couple of months that I have to dump off my phone, I'm not using camera, I'm using iPhones, and I enter relationship with nature and animals the way you enter relationship with humans, of that get them when they're comfortable, relaxed, and natural, and then start taking pictures. It's a similar way, it's just different subjects. Yeah. So I get that.
I've been really enjoying seeing your morning postings of the lake, the sunrise. That's a nice thing to wake up to.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's I remember the first month I was here, I was posting a different picture every day of the same lake, and I'm like, are you guys tired of it yet? I'm going out on my deck. That's as far as I'm traveling. And because this will be cut short, because the owner's going to sell the house, I'm going through the letting go process of living on a lake for the first time, and the stunning beauty of whatever is happening out there. Because even though it's the same lake in the same perspectives, everything's different. And I love that. It's been a year of a meditation that is pretty amazing, actually. So I'm like, okay, I got to get up and take a picture, at least a few a day, because I don't know who knows where I'm going to be after this. I don't know.
There's a movie. I think it's New York Stories, which I think was another Jim Jarmusch thing.
Uh-huh.
Kind of these 4 vignettes, and one of them, there's a guy who's a shop owner in this little New York City type shop,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and he has a pharmacy or something. I don't remember exactly, but the key thing is that every day at the same time he steps out at the corner and makes a snapshot, and at the
Yes.
end of it, you have this understanding that there's all these albums of these snapshots, all
Yeah.
these days of these moments. It's
Yes. Yeah, and that's how I'm looking at it. I change every day. All of you who look at the pictures change every day. The going out in the mornings and like, okay, turn the dryer. I get up really early. Turn the dryer off. Get all the sounds. Get the heaters on. Go over to the other deck and attempt to get the technology off and listen for what nature's doing. And it's so subtle at times. And I know on TikTok, it's like, okay, put music on and it's like, no, I want to hear, this morning's little vignette was a cardinal that was in the big tree over here. And that cardinal started calling as soon as I stepped outside and continued. And the one duck that was in the lake, and it was just this juxtaposition of sound and visual at dawn. And for me, that is such a zen and mystical and magical experience to just hear whatever is going on out there.
for
It's
sure.
been fun. And it'll be interesting to see if I can recreate that continuity somewhere else, depending on where I end up. I'm looking at a cabin tomorrow that is so deep in the woods that there's no Wi-Fi and there's no landline and there's no cell phone. And I'm tempted, like, could you guys read it all psychically? Can we do this psychically? But oh my God, the pictures. We'll see.
Have to do a direct data link somehow.
Well, and now that I have the address, if I like the place, I will talk to my company that I have Wi-Fi with here and see if they can do that. But then there's also okay, maybe just getting an apartment in town and leave that pristine and not ruined by. I can only imagine how magical the communication from nature would be without technology around.
Yep.
It's been a lot of years since I felt that, and it's exciting. And the other direction is Hot Springs proper as a city. So I don't know. Well, I'm in the not knowing, which thank God I was in a Zen order, which taught me to sit in not knowing. We tend to do that a lot these days.
It is the era of that for sure.
Yeah. So how have you guys done through the 2 years of the world coming to a halt and, keeping, because I know both of you have kept your creativity going in an impeccable way. How have you done that?
I think the creative work has been the thing that is, kept us both alive
Mm-hmm.
in many respects. I was having a conversation with a friend last night. He's a musician, a guy named Rufus, that
Mm-hmm.
has another professional line of work, and the pandemic kind of threw that all into turmoil.
Yeah.
So that's enabled him to be very consciously focused on this other thing, on his music and what he's doing there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like it's not like there's something good about the pandemic exactly,
Mm-hmm.
but the being forced to pause and sitting in that pause for a moment,
Yeah.
and then saying, okay, what can I change to make my life be more aligned with life?
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
good thing, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that might be one thing we've both kind of come out of this thinking about.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know for myself, it's been a lot less. There's been a lot less travel,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and I'm kind of good with that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, the figuring out how to.
We like that here too.
Yeah.
We like having him here.
You like having them there, yes. I can imagine. Yeah, yeah. Well, we all were, because I traveled too all the time for a while. I mean, like a lot full time with the
You're
music, and just the in canine terms, since I'm coyote, sit stay, which happened 2 years ago in March. It was just sort of like, oh, the type A part of me has to slow down now, and at that time it was having events at the house all the time and clients and gong baths and all that fun stuff. And it came to a screeching halt. It really did. And I developed the most intense gratitude for people who were willing to go do my food shopping for me and deliver it to my house, because I was already doing Instacart. And just, all these things that I considered privileged normal, because I was making enough money to afford stuff like that, that became necessary, because I'm one of those people that it's like, yeah, if I get it, I'm dead. So we may as well not get it, I think I'll stay out of the stores, especially back in the early days when nobody knew what was going on. I developed a real respect and gratitude for what people were doing to help us. And, gratefully had already started on Zoom 2 years before this happened, so I could at least play my music somehow. And I think you were doing that too, weren't you, Mark? You've been playing or recording and playing online.
Yeah, posting posting videos and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
So that's been a fun way to keep some connection with folks.
Hmm. Yeah.
But it still doesn't. There's nothing quite as fun as what happens when you're playing with other people and when
Hmm.
you have some sort of audience that's giving you some sort of feedback. So
Yes.
that that is something that I'm hopeful that over in these coming years that there will be more of that we can do in a
Yeah.
way that's where we
Yes.
don't have to worry about dying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was really okay with taking a break from having. I mean, I'm a hermit by nature. I was okay with taking a break for the first year. And one of the things that I've had to look at in this last year being up here is how much I miss, I don't know, having an audience to play the sound healing. It's not feedback from me, because if people are asleep, I've succeeded. So there's no feedback. There's everybody conked out. But there's a synergy and a synchronicity that happens in a small group when my instrument spirits are talking to me, through them, and for people in the room. It's really powerful. And a picture popped up on YouTube, not YouTube, Facebook the other day, of the last gong bath I did, which was in February of 2020. That was the last one. I haven't done one since then. I've done a few musical events up here, but not a gong bath. So it's like, okay, everything blows up downstairs. All the gongs are now upstairs. I'm doing a gong bath the first weekend of March for the first time since this started. It's like, I don't know who's more excited, me or the gongs.
I suspect it's equal. The instruments like to be played,
They like to be played. Yes. Yeah.
and
And go ahead.
there is nothing quite like being in that space when you've got all of those instruments doing their thing.
Yeah.
It's mighty.
Yeah. And the thing that's interesting about setting them up out of necessity to bring them upstairs is they are behind chairs and around, and and it's like people get to be really comfortable in really cozy chairs rather than the floor unless they want to, and I get to jog around behind and all over and really get a whole chamber of energy going with all these gongs. It's going to be fun. It's going to be different,
Cool.
a little more athletic than just sit on the floor and bang on things. It's going to be sort of cool. Get the hiking shoes on. Try not to trip over anybody's body.
A memory that's coming to mind for me is back when Nico was training with you,
Mm-hmm.
and she did a session for me out in Hunt,
Yes.
and I was out so cold. I don't even know how long it took me to wake up.
I know. I remember that.
It was
I remember when I first started playing the bowls, one of the mountain in California, Idlewild, the spiritual director of that mountain when he moved up there was an elder by the name of Herb Jeffries, who was a movie star, the star on Hollywood, all that stuff. He was a musician. Pink Flamingo from the 40s was his song. And I got to do a private concert with the bowls for him and a couple of other people. And Herb was never quiet. He was always going. I mean, he must have been in his late 80s, early 90s by then. And he just said, "Okay, we have to have a few people here because we have to clap for you when you're done." And I'm looking at him and I'm going, "If you're awake enough to clap for me, I have failed." Literally couldn't say a word for 30 minutes. We're all looking at him like, "Oh my God, what happened?" It's a weird kind of music to play,
It really it's what is it when the music is meant to put you so at peace that you just don't know.
Yeah, it's a completely altered state, and it's way beyond theta. It's in that gamma place of just because people will swear they're awake for the whole event, and yet they're just gone. Just gone. Yeah, it was fun. I remember bringing the bowls into Fort Hood to play during that program, the PTSD program. And for people who have PTSD like that, they don't sleep.
Yeah.
They just don't sleep. And there would be certain there's always men in my programs, there weren't women. Certain men that would actually fall asleep to the bowls and start snoring. And then they get all embarrassed. I mean, it was just like, wait a minute. That's the bass note. Just pretend you're the drone Shruti box in the background, because it was like that. And the rest of this is playing off of your drone. Because I would turn anything into music.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so neat to see that sometimes they could relax enough to go to sleep. Even for an hour. It was cool.
It's and you wake up after that sort of experience, and it's a different type of rejuvenation.
Yeah, it is. And I miss that part, that aspect of playing music for people, because music is such a language for all of us, whether it's popular music or folk music, which is what I was actually raised on, or the healing music. I find all music healing at this point. I mean, anything can be shifted into a movement of energy. And I mean, come on, I was raised in the '70s on rock and roll. It's like I like shifting energy like that. That was my high school. So, yeah. So, are you playing? Are you guys doing open mics in San Antonio anymore? That place that you always used to go to?
The starting to have some stuff come back together,
Good.
so that's happening. Friend Alex and I, we got to play Celebration Circle's alders. They have an exhibit of alders every year that folks make, holding for the airplane.
Keep the plane on. It's great. We're going to be right in the theater district. The dog's still going.
So Alex and I got to play the Celebration Circle Alder show this last year. So that was kind of first thing. I guess first thing being out in public playing.
Yeah.
Aside from the open mics and whatnot, and I've been doing some solo coffee shop gigs at a place called Kapai, and we're looking at hopefully some things happening.
Good.
There's a trombonist that's working with us now. So Alex Salinas and Dan Klein and I are performing as the Meadowood Trio, and doing some recording, and it's just fun.
Yeah. Well, it is fun. Yes. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the thing I miss the most about the playing the music, because in Texas are all my sacred collaborators that I recorded and traveled with, and there's nothing like that up here at all at this point.
I wonder if as you get closer to Hot Springs proper, that if there's maybe a little bit more than, where you're at right now, I can see where not so much, but
yeah, there's nothing here. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I keep Googling sound healers to see if anything shows up in this area. And it's like, okay, that one's for golfers, and that's some kind of machine, sort of like the vibroacoustic table I have. And that one's Shift Network, which is, the big online, teaching company. And then me, I show up because I've got a Google business page, and I'm like, man, there's nobody to play with here. Import some people.
Maybe the next place that you land up there is where the festival is going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I think last year's resurgence of COVID shocked people enough to just sort of go and pause and, oh no, we don't have any predictability now. And I'm okay doing very small events. I'm not okay traveling like I used to.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
but I miss playing. I miss playing with people.
Yeah.
So I get to do it myself. So I had a question for you. What did I do with it? Oh, darn it. Hold that thought. I have to go find a notebook. I love your chimes. It's gorgeous. I like it. I was like half asleep and had to get up and write these down. 2 of them. So, how has photography changed your perspective of what the world is like?
Getting real comfortable with the notion that all this too shall pass.
Mm-hmm.
And photography makes that really clear, because that little snap of a shutter, or that little second fraction of a second that some light's hitting an image sensor. It's just that, and that whatever it is that we take from that moment,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it can be useful as something to remember, but it's also something that you got to let go of, because it was already gone before you clicked that shutter.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So permanence and impermanence in the same moment.
Yeah, and getting comfortable with impermanence. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
anyone who goes into the arts more than likely is thinking they're going to be making something that's supposed to last for all time, and that's just, I mean, at least that was where I was at when I started out as a, thinking about art.
Yeah.
And maybe something will last for a while, but at the end it's all just dust. It's not much.
Yeah, I get that, because it's so easy taking pictures in the digital medium. Of take a picture on the phone, upload it to 5 different sites, which is basically what I do. And because at first it was like, oh, wait a minute, I got to pick the ones I really like, and then I can have them printed and yada yada. And it's like, I don't have the energy for that. But what I have learned, because I've got a continuity with taking pictures up here, is it becomes a flow of conversation, because morning is my favorite time to take these pictures, to just take the snapshot and use it as a visual hello. I
Yep.
love you. Thank you for, because my sites are small, but thank you for looking at my art. And if I can do something that helps people feel better with the music, and especially the videos on YouTube, the music and the videos that I take, that's what counts. In a world that is a little depressed at the moment, that is what counts. Is look at that goofy duck. Listen to the geese honk. I mean, it's just so simple. It's really simple, really, and yet it is a freeze frame of something impermanent,
Yep.
which I love. Yeah, I see that too from the pictures. It's a conversation, which is interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So, did you go into the private chat and say something? Because you knew who did that.
No.
Oh, that's your okay. That's your okay. How do I get back in the public one? I lost the public chat. We're in trouble now. Ah, there you are.
Oh, I think in the private, I think I shared to you the URL for the project.
Okay, my next question. This is for both of you. She's still there?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. How do each of you change the world through your creations?
I keep stuff out of the landfill.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Some truth to it.
Well, you're making art out of found
objects. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a friend who has an estate sale company, and it's a little bit symbiotic. I did her website and logo stuff, and then came to help her check it out, and kind of started mosaicing around the same time. And my mosaic teacher was more traditional, like more just stained glass, or but she had mixed media too. But I quickly realized, like, I wanted to throw everything in the kitchen sink, on a kitchen sink,
Right.
yeah, or on the bathroom sink. Mark's going to show you. But so.
Oh my God! Look at that. Okay. Oh, that is so cool.
So there for a moment of context. Sorry.
Yeah.
So found object art.
Yeah, found objects, and
so you keep them out of the landfill.
Or chips. When the kids break a plate, or the neighbors, like now just people. Or I have a potter who's brings me these great boxes of custom glazes that he makes.
Broken cards.
Things that have exploded in the kiln. So he
So
says
he
he's
knows
happy.
that
I'm
you
happy.
do them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow! That's cool. That is really cool. That is cool.
And my brother works and Mark sometimes works there at a guitar store here in San Antonio. And so John, they will take all the parts off. Like some guitars, like just get smashed by mean girlfriends or bad stuff happens to them. But,
so some stuff comes in that's not repairable.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the people that had it, they say, okay, well, yeah, I get rid of it, and so some stuff ends up coming over here
and being made into art.
Yeah, I put on my Instagram the other day. I did a little guitar hospital because I had to, the old cast material. We can use that for mosaics, and so some that had some breaks and things that couldn't be played, but I could still make art on it. So between the guitars and the little tchotchkes that I save or broken plates, I do keep things out of the landfill. I've never been asked that before, but that was me.
That's a path of service, and the things you post are beautiful. I love what you make.
Thank you.
Really
it's truly a therapy for me. The breaking and the making,
Yes. So because you get to smash things smaller and put them back together.
Exactly. Yeah. There's some anger release in there for sure.
Yeah, I know. In early recovery, broken plate therapy was a big thing.
Yeah.
I remember in Idlewild, the recycle center, we had to drive all of our recycling goods there, and the big metal container for the glass. All of us who knew how to do that kind of therapy would sit there and just wing the glass into the container. And listen, you probably would have loved the glass, Alexis.
Yeah.
Beautiful, but oh my God, it was great therapy. Yeah. That's cool. Oh, thank you.
How do you
what about you? How do you change the world with your creations?
I don't know. I hope that I don't know how if it does change the world at all, but if it does, I hope that it helps us to, in all of it, look at one another, listen to one another, listen to what's around us, and see what's around us with more openness and a greater willingness to try and see and hear what doesn't necessarily first appear.
Yes.
So.
Yes, look beyond this. Well, when I watch what you post in the visual on social media, it's like there's an invitation for mindful seeing, of normal objects, like the typewriter keys last night, and just skew a perspective just a little bit, and it does something to the brain that likes to get into ruts, because your brain sort of has to go and then go and it's a mindful. It's not fast. It's a mindfulness. It's breathe and pay attention to something different, and anything that can take minds out of ruts that disrupts the fear programming that's going on right now. I see that very helpful.
Really good at that. He does that. At first he would, when we were first together, he would go say he was going to go wash the car, and I didn't really understand that for him washing the car is a meditation. And
yes,
and very much so. So he finds ways to get that mindfulness in there all day long. He's a good teacher.
Yes, and I see, and that shows on what you post. I see that. Alexis, your art is like this beautiful orgasm of color and movement, and just it's all the feminine flow stuff crystallized in a thing that's not in the landfill. And then Mark, you've got that pointed focus. I mean, it's a really interesting archetype blend you two have of divine masculine and divine feminine, actually. And together is such, I mean, I have loved watching the two of you, what you post on media. It's been really fun. It's like, I've never looked at that way, And for me, that's art. I've never looked at that way. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that, to see things differently.
If it's making you and other folks kind of see things differently, it's working.
It's working, yeah. And for me, that's what the sound healing is about. It has taught me to hear differently. It heightens the hearing, but it also teaches me to love. Adrian, welcome, girl. It's taught me how to really respect silence and mindfulness and all that around. It's like I don't want to be in sound all the time because I'm making sound all the time. If that makes sense at all. It's just interesting. There's a lot of paradoxes in the creation process.
Yep.
It's a lot of paradox, sacred paradox.
I think you think about all the folks that you have worked with over the years, and that point when folks do finally get comfortable with that paradox and be able to sort of say, okay, yeah, I can step over on both sides of this line. That's a cool thing.
Yeah. It's one of the most important things I learned from one of my teachers who had a workshop that I would staff for him. He would teach sacred paradox. We would work the energy of that in the workshop, and that has profoundly changed my experience of third dimensional. It is a dimension of division, and sacred paradox in the middle of the division, which is what I aim for constantly. I don't always stay there, but I aim for it. That the music has brought me closer to that than anything else I've done, which has been really neat. And then looking at other people's ways of creating art does the same thing. We need creation. We are creators on this planet.
Indeed.
Can I ask you a question?
No!
Gina, I wasn't even supposed to be here. I already broke the rules.
There's a plane. I got to. Yes.
But did your different voyances, the seeing your guides and stuff, does playing the music and being in touch with the music, I guess, do those work together as part of your creative process? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Back in the beginning, 18, 19 years ago, when I started playing just the bowls in, sound healing concerts, the human part of me was like, holy crap, I don't know how to play music. So the brain was saying that. The inner kids were like, oh my God, we're going to get in trouble. We're cheating. There was all this conversation going on. And I remember the second event I did, I was in Denver, second one. The audience is asleep. It's halfway through it. I've already knocked them out. And I am literally asking my guides, what in the hell were you thinking picking me to play music? I mean, why? And I didn't even know they were Hathors back then. I thought they were monks, similar. They all just said, well, you've been training in shamanism for 15 years. And I'm like, at that time, I'm like, yeah. You know how to get out of the way so we can work through and with your body. And I'm like, well, that part's easy. And they're like, not for most humans. And it was, and I will never forget that moment, because in that moment, the inner kids part of me, who always got in trouble for not doing whatever it was right, from an abusive family, the inner kid part of me just went, wow, we can just watch and enjoy it because we really like the music. So they all calmed down. And the human part of me went into, whoa, you're the teachers. I get to learn from you. And they said, yeah, and you're in a meat suit with two hands because I was only playing with one. They said,
Mm.
pick up the sticks in both hands and play that way. So I find that when I am in, it's a humility place, that sacred learning, teach me, I'm teachable. I expand all the energy. So the music for me is, it's native language for the Hathor part of me. The inner kids get to get creative and play, which they do, especially if I'm playing with Cornell. We're like two-year-olds together, which is pretty funny. So it's become, I'm always hearing the guides. I'm praying through the entire thing. I'm doing Ho'oponopono and other prayers. And it has become, since that experience, a collaboration of all the beings that I hear and sense that work through me, that we're co-creating an activation for people or healing. And it's been amazing. And I'm so glad I asked that question in concert number 2, because I was freaking out. I felt like I was completely out of integrity taking money to play music, and I wasn't a musician. And what I've learned over the years is that my Hathors are musicians. And if I keep my brain out of it, if it's not engaged in what I'm doing, they know how to play music. And I just get to, I mean, there's a part of me going, ooh, this feels good. I like this. So does that make sense?
That's the
You
only
get to
way
be
I'll
the
play
instrument.
drums. Yeah.
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 I'm part of the instrument. Yes. Yeah. And, because I am clairaudient and every instrument I have has a spirit in it, I am constantly in communication with, it's not just banging on a piece of metal, it's actually communicating with whoever and whatever is in that instrument and what they want to say through the sound. So it's their voice,
Yep.
basically. So yeah, it's been interesting. It's been fascinating, actually, and it's heightened all of my psychic abilities playing music like this. So it's been fun.
Kind of guessed that, but I'd never asked you. So it
Yeah,
was
thank you.
cool
Yeah,
to talk about how that plays in. Do you hear do your guitars? I mean, because
yeah. Did they talk to you?
explained that there are many guitars and they each have a purpose and
Oh yeah, same thing. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, every instrument has its own voice,
yeah.
and you can choose to listen to it, or you can not listen to it, and I think that it's much more fun when you listen to it.
Yes.
Yeah. And I guess as I think about, if I think about the big A arts, the notion to which each of these modes of creation that we do
Hmm.
serve as a way to communicate with spirit, or with
Hmm. Hmm.
with some ineffable beyond.
Hmm.
um
Yeah.
the Where am I going with this? That the music is that that each instrument provides a different way of getting there. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
being playful.
That it'll teach you something as you're trying
Yeah.
to do something with it.
Well, and for me, being a student is an integral part of mastering anything. They have to go, that's sacred paradox for me. I cannot be a teacher unless I am a student at the same time. And playing sacred music as prayer, because I had somebody once at a retreat, one of Father Thomas Keating's retreats, and she just walked up to me at some point in those 4 days and looked at me and goes, the music is your ministry. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't, that's not terminology I would use. And yes, that's exactly what it is. It's how I pray. It's how they pray through me. And somebody agrees. Thank you. So we have actually, oh my God, we went over.
Because I asked that question.
Wow, just thank you so much. Thank you both. It's so good to see both of you. I love you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you so much. We love you.
One of my favorite couples.
That's special. That means a lot, right?
And all y'all. Okay, if Jen Lynn's still on here, Jen Lynn of Jen Lynn Tarot is my guest next Sunday. Oh, this will be a raucous time. You know how we are together. It can be wild. And we'll both be awake instead of having to have coffee to do it. So I don't know what else is going on this week. There's probably something going on. Wednesday night, I am having the group that I'm running for sound healing, shamanic sound healing, Q&A, meet all the instruments, ask a 50 billion questions, and come play. And there's information in the community page about what that costs and what we're doing. And somebody sent me a huge list of questions already. Oh boy. So
that means they're paying attention. That's good.
Yes, definitely. So I just thank you. Thank all of you that popped in and said hello. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Super Bowl day.
Right.
Whatever we're all into. I will see Johnny and Adrian and Jen Lynn and Becca tonight on their broadcast. So that's where I'll be. Probably with the football game on over here. So love you guys. Thank you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday.
Thank you for having us on.
Thank you.
Dorothy says bye too.